Late October. It's getting cold in Missoula, but the Montana offense is heating up. Scoring 68 points last week, the Grizz are looking a lot like a team that went to Portland 3 years ago and lost. The Vikings are the last Big Sky Conference team to beat the national champs. Will history repeat itself, or will Montana take another step towards a 5th straight conference title? The answer is coming up next. October 26th has been circled on every calendar in Missoula and Portland since the schedules came out last spring. A beautiful night in the Rose City. Welcome to Portland, Oregon. I'm Tom Kotz along with Dave Guffey, as tonight the #1 ranked team in the country, the Montana Grizzlies, are in town to take on the Portland State Vikings. And Dave, we know that Portland State football is known for its offense, its passing game, but this year Justin Wood doesn't have to throw the ball quite as much. He's got a pretty good tailback behind him in Ryan Fuqua.
Ryan Fuqua had a breakout year last season as a freshman. Now as a sophomore, 1,000 yards rushing even. He's a threat. He's taking pressure off Wood. Of course, a lot of teams have trouble rushing the ball against Montana. Fuqua rushed for, I think, 80 last year. He's looking for a big game tonight.
And Montana, the Grizzlies are not the #1 team in the country for nothing. They have some playmakers of their own, and maybe the most exciting guy on the field tonight is #1. His name is Levander Seegers.
LV, Mr. Excitement, always has a smile on his face, and his shoes are always burning. Getting the ball to him a lot more. Became a starter last week at wide receiver, and you saw what he could do there. That huge touchdown pass from Edwards to Levander. He returns punts, he returns kicks. Get the ball to him, let him see what happens. He's got a good supporting cast, but he can always make something happen when he touches the football.
The last time that Montana head coach Joe Glenn was in this stadium, he was head coach at the University of Northern Colorado, and the Bears lost to the Vikings. No doubt Coach Glenn would love to even his record here at PGE Park. We'll have that coming up next with the kickoff. Stay with us. We're in Portland for the Vikings and the Grizzlies.
Tonight's Big Sky Conference football game between the Montana Grizzlies and the Portland State Vikings is brought to you by Lucky Lil's and Magic Diamond Casinos, a division of Town Pump across Montana. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Montana. The Montana Wood Products Association, promoting healthy forests and healthy communities through management of Montana's forests. Universal Athletic Service, for the athlete in all of us. And CarQuest Auto Parts stores. With over 4,000 CarQuest Auto Parts stores, you'll find it at CarQuest. 11,000 fans expected for tonight's ball game at PGE Park between the #1 team in the country, the Montana Grizzlies, and the 13th ranked Portland State Vikings. The captains are at midfield right now with the coin toss. And we're here in PGE Park, Dave Guffey. That is a baseball stadium most of the year. And they play football in the fall. Kind of a different place to call a game, but a good atmosphere. I think there's going to be a lot of Montana fans and a lot of Viking fans. This place will get loud tonight.
We're watching the coin flip right now, and of course, I think they're expecting 3,000 to 4,000 Montana fans. I know the tailgate area here right next to the stadium is just huge. It's almost a block-long tailgate party.
Referred to the start of the second half.
And you see the signal by the official down here. We're watching the coin toss. But I'll tell you what, Tom, the last time Montana played Portland State, it was in Hillsboro, Oregon, at Hillsboro High School, and which was a pretty good venue. But they've done a lot of nice things here. It's a really good improvement here at PG&E Park. And we see the signal that Grizz are going to get the ball first. John Edwards and company at quarterback trying to get things started. But hey, what a crazy Big Sky Conference race. Guess what? Sacramento State at Eastern Washington. Who do you think might win that game?
Don't know.
That's right, Sac State, 48-41. That's the only day game. And of course, Eastern Washington was a viable. They were right in the thick of things. That's their third loss. They're out of the action now, and the Vikings now, of course, need this win. Montana to remain unbeaten, the only unbeaten Big Sky Conference team in Big Sky play. This would be a huge win for them on the road to yet another Big Sky Conference championship.
And here come the national champs as the Grizzlies take the field. Take a look at Tim Walsh in his 10th year now at the helm of the Vikings. 10th season, he's 65 and 45 overall, and in conference play he's 26 and 25, so one game above 500. And what a win it would be for his program. Really a culmination of the success that they've built on each year if they could get the win tonight over the Montana Grizzlies.
Of course, the Grizz shooting for their 22nd conference win in a row, 23rd, whatever. The last conference loss was right here to the Vikings, 51-48 in overtime. And actually, before the game, they had 3 of the principals from that game. Terry Charles, a great wide receiver who is gone now to graduation, and I think his last name was Ransom, who blocked the PAT attempt. Montana had just scored, would have tied the game 49-49. Instead, a blocked PAT. You lose a point, they recover it, return it for 2 points, hence the 51-48 loss here in 1999. But that's how big a deal that win was to them, to introduce those players here prior to homecoming.
The Grizzlies have had 3 wins on homecoming on the road so far this year. This is the 4th time that Montana has been the homecoming guest of a Big Sky Conference team. And the 3 other teams have gone home disappointed.
Tell you, I'm looking at some 1AA scores here. We don't have time to get into that. We're almost kicking it off. But here's a shocker. Wolford goes into Appalachian State, beats the number 8 team in the nation, 26-19. So Appalachian State falls today in 1AA football. We'll give you some more scores when we have the time to do it.
The ball's teed up. Mike K. Hall Willis is going to let her fly back deep, standing at their own 2-yard line. Rory Zickman along with number 1, Levander Seegers, and it's going to be Zickman from his own 4. Left side, he's got a crease. Almost up to the 30-yard line as the Grizz went to the left side. That's where they usually set up the return, and the Montana offense will take the field, and it all starts with number 5, John Edwards, senior quarterback out of Billings West, Walter Payton Award candidate, and he'll bring his club onto the team as the Grizz set up shop just inside their own 30.
And of course, Rory Zickman with a 94-yard touchdown return from kickoff last week, 4th longest in school history, a senior from Harleton, Montana.
Montana sets up 2 wide to the near side, Connor Malloy in motion. First play of the game from PGE Park in a matchup that's been highly anticipated. And the give to J.R. Waller. He's up close to the 34-yard line on first down, a pickup of 3.5 yards.
And Tolo Tulatelli, the linebacker, is a sophomore from San Bernardino on the stop. Very good, fast group of linebackers for Portland State, led by number 52, Marcus Green, an outstanding senior linebacker from Pasadena, California.
7 yards to go on second down for the Montana Grizzlies. Single back set. Edwards has 4 receivers at his disposal. He's going left side. Incomplete. Tate Hancock, the intended receiver, had a shot at it, but the Vikings converged quickly. Good coverage down the left seam that time for Portland State.
Good coverage, pretty good time for John Edwards. And now Montana faces itself in a 3rd down situation. Of course, J.R. Waller back home, Benson High School here in Oregon, a redshirt freshman. J.R. starting in place of the injured David Gober. We see the replay, and just a really good hit in the secondary there by Renard Carey, number 3.
3rd and long. Man in motion is Levander Seegers. Edwards with time. This time Hancock reels it in, and it's a first down Montana near the 50-yard line.
And Portland State in a conventional 4-3, and they don't like to blitz that much. We see a replay here. The linebacker there, 44 in coverage, and good time for John Edwards. Kind of a timing pattern. Tate Hancock, of course, really coming into his own the last 2-3 games now, really since the Idaho game at wide receiver for the Grizzlies.
I want to tell you, on 3rd down, Tate Hancock has been the go-to guy across the middle. That time, picked up another first down for the Grizzlies. 3 wide. Edwards fakes a screen, comes back. That ball almost intercepted. And golly, that could have been 6 quick points had the Vikings been able to reel that in.
That was a great read. I think it was either 95 or 92.
I believe that was Stefan Kleinert.
Kleinert, who had a very big game last week, leading tackler. I think he had 10 stops in that win for the Vikings last season. This was kind of a badly timed screen pass anyway, because basically the pass rush got there too quick for John Edwards to do anything.
Kleinert knocked it down. If he would have caught it, he might have scored. 2nd and 10. The Vikings got a quick start that time into the Grizzly backfield. Agatupu Sogaputule.
Boy, You take that one every time, will you?
Sagapulatelli.
And I think
Sagapulatelli.
Sagapulatelli.
Excuse me.
So there you go.
There you go.
Not bad.
Agatupu Sagapulatelli.
He's a junior. He's a transfer from Hancock Junior College. And
False start.
they're calling the Grizzlies for procedure.
Penalty.
So it looks like Sagapulatelli did get drawn off sides. It'll be 2nd and 15 for Montana. And head coach Tim Walsh hoping his club can get the Grizzlies to go 3 and out on their first possession, get the ball in the back in the hands of his star quarterback, Justin Wood.
Of course, in the open, we talked about Ryan Fuqua, the exciting sophomore halfback for Portland State. He's got that 3rd, 4th gear. J.R. Waller, Jelani Harrison, David Gover all have that gear as well. Some really good running backs in this game. Gover, of course, still out with an ankle injury.
2nd and 15. Blitz comes. Grizzlies pick it up. That ball, did it skip off the turf, or did Levander get down and make the catch? I believe they're saying he caught it.
Well, that's an interesting call. The official 25 yards back.
Maybe not.
Said no, it was trapped. And from our vantage point, Tom, I could not tell. Levander Seegers with a good effort there. Usually you tell if the receiver starts putting up big-time argument, he probably caught it, but I didn't see Levander do that.
Well, the official on the far side of the field looked to be the closest, and I didn't get a signal from him right away. But incomplete is the call. 3rd and long now for Montana. 2-back set. Jelani Harrison into the ball game along with J.R. Waller behind John Edwards. Straight back, wants to come this way, and it's almost picked off. In and out of the hands on the near side of Darius Brown.
John Talmadge, the intended receiver. That's just a zone pass. You just split the zone between the safety and the corner. And Montana very successful running that. Liked to run that play a lot to Tate Hancock. Talmadge was actually there. Ball was still maybe just a split second late. Nice coverage, and as you said, almost a pick by the Vikings.
Mark Spencer on to punt for Montana. Gets off a bit of a wobbler. Takes a Montana bounce, fielded at the 20-yard line. The Vikings will set up shop at about the 27.
Well, nice run by Steve Shinnon there. Number 8 averages 6.4 yards a return, kind of a shifty character. And the Grizz, of course, really not a bad special teams team as far as coverage-wise. Haven't let a big one get loose this year, but Portland State, that's how they had a lot of success in the last couple games.
40 yards on the punt that time for Mark Spencer, the senior punter for Montana. And here come the Vikings for the first time. Number 1 offense a year ago in the Big Sky Conference, and they're led by Justin Wood, all-conference performer. They give the right side, Fuqua. He's run out of bounds after a short pickup on 1st down.
He was Fuqua last year, he's Fuqua this year, but it doesn't matter how you pronounce his last name. He's a talent. He's already rushed for 1,000 yards so far this season. And of course, did not start till late in the season. Last year, Portland State came on very strong at the end of last season. And that's why they were picked 2nd in the preseason polls by the media and coaches. Montana, of course, the favorite.
This game, as we said, highly anticipated, and whoever comes out of this is going to have the inside track on the Big Sky Conference Championship. Straight back, Wood has all kinds of time, comes over the middle, and that's complete to number 81, Jesse Levin.
And that's one of the returning veterans here on they lost 2 of their top wide receivers at graduation. And if Justin Wood has that kind of time, Montana could be in for a long night. Great job by the offensive line. And as we talked about earlier today, Tom, PSU lost 2 starting offensive linemen to injury, a center and a guard. And so that's a big thing to watch tonight as that develops.
Levin, the returning receiver, he had 905 yards receiving last year for this Portland State team, and he gets off to a good start for the Vikings tonight. This time a 2-back set. Fuqua gets his number called. 3.5, 4 yards.
And kind of a different starting look for the Montana defense. If folks might have noticed, number 23, Kevin Edwards, a freshman, redshirt freshman, Spokane, actually starting at one of the safety spots. They moved number 3, Trey Young, from his normal free safety spot to the nickel spot to maybe help a little bit more with the running, stopping the running game, and specifically number 20, Ryan Fuqua.
Montana defense got beat up last week against Southern Utah. Southern Utah put up 45 points on the Grizz. Fuqua again, this time Blake Corrigan's got him in the backfield. Loss of 4 on the play.
That's one of those calls. You run a blitz right where they want to run the ball. Not a good option. Fuqua had literally nowhere to go, and he couldn't get a start. Could not get a start. Watch this penetration. Excellent penetration. Blake Horgan there, 42, with the initial stop, grabs him by the jersey.
The Montana defensive line so beat up. 3 starters from last year's club out for the season, including a couple of All-Americans in Ciche Pitcher and Johnny Verona, but this defensive line has shown its depth this season. They've played well. Now 3rd and long. Wood comes this way and he's incomplete. He's shot high, and that'll bring up a punting situation. Coming out here for Deontay Taylor, and he overshot him. So the Grizzlies defense holds on their first test against this vaunted Portland State Viking offensive attack.
Coach Walsh said prior to the game, told the media that he thought one of the keys of this game for his Viking football team was not to let Montana get out of the blocks real fast, which they have done in previous games. Last year, I think the first play from scrimmage was a screen pass touchdown by Otto Molden for Montana. So he got his wish. They stopped him in the first series, but we're a number 2 coming up here.
Eddie Pazzo sends a spiral deep into Grizzly territory. Seegers from his own 15-yard line. And he's running out of real estate on this side. Now he's got a couple blocks, but there's a flag on the play.
It's not going to matter.
Seegers tripped up by the punter. Pazzo's at the 30, but there's a yellow handkerchief laying at the 19-yard line. I believe this one's coming back.
And we talked about Mr. Excitement in our open, and there's another sample of it. Push in the back. You see that commonly called. It's a frequently called penalty. And it's really, if you're on a kickoff team like that or a punt return team like that, it's almost impossible to avoid sometimes, depending on how the player turns his body. And that's why you see it so frequently, because as a blocker, you're really kind of behind the 8 ball on when to know when to make that block. But Levander Seegers' huge return. Well, the Grizz will lose about 50, 60 yards on that one.
Seegers got himself out of trouble early on, then the flag came in.
Walk in the back. It's the receiving team. The distance to the goal from the spot of the foul. First down.
So Montana's going to be set up with their backs to the wall, and head coach Joe Glenn doesn't like that. A problem that the Grizz have had this year is they tend to shoot themselves in the foot sometimes on big plays. Penalties were really a problem early this season. They got them cleaned up for a couple of weeks, but a big one early on. Waller, the lone back, left side, and not a whole lot doing. Tough sledding on first down.
Kind of a field position game now. Montana, of course, needs to get a couple first downs, or if they don't have success in this second drive of the game, Portland State will have excellent field position. Of course, they have a very good punt return, kick return team as well. But Montana, sometimes it pays to be a little conservative down at this point of the field, because you're only 11 yards behind you as your end zone.
Grizzlies trying to get some momentum going. Edwards fakes a pass, a draw to Waller now. Left side, got room. Carrying tacklers up over the 20-yard line. That's a first down for the redshirt freshman. And it's a homecoming for him, as you mentioned, Dave, from Benson High School.
It's just a huge game for him. Of course, his dad is actually a football coach at Benson High School. But I think I heard that he has something like 44 members of his friends and family here at the football game. So what a great, exciting time for the youngster. Only a redshirt freshman, J.R. Waller, from, as we've mentioned, here in the Rose City.
He had 4 touchdowns last week against Southern Utah. 2 wide on first down. Levander Seegers hauls it into the 30, makes one man miss, and he's up close to the 35-yard line. Well, they say he stepped out of bounds at the 32.
The one thing about Levander, too, when people look at his size, I think 5'7", 165, he's deceivingly strong upper body-wise. Colorado Springs, Colorado product, but Levander, of course, played as a true freshman, so he's only 19 years old, but he is deceivingly strong, hence he breaks more tackles than you think he might be able to.
Two backs behind Edwards. And they come this way with Waller. He's out in the flat. Dragged down just over the 40-yard line. Darius Brown made the tackle in the open field.
And a nice tackle by Brown because JR tried to give him a straight arm. If he could have got past him, he would have picked up at least 5-10 more yards. But once again, you talk about a guy, well, 5'9", but he's 197. JR also very strong upper body and lower legs. He keeps down low. And nice blocking there by the right tackle, the Grizz. Excellent stop. As you see, could have picked up quite a few more yards.
Edwards comes over to John Talmadge on a slip screen. Talmadge over the 50, 45, 40, and he's down close to the 30-yard line. First real big play of the Montana offense tonight. John Talmadge, no surprise, he's been making big plays for the last month.
Just keeps getting better and better every year, and once again, a young player, a redshirt freshman from Anaheim, California. Talmadge, 6'4", and I think after that, 6'4", I think maybe your next guy is maybe Tate Hancock at 5'10". So big difference in the lineup there with number 2.
The height drops off pretty quick across the board for the Grizzly receiving corps. 26 yards on that last completion from Edwards to Talmadge. Talmadge has had a touchdown in each of the last 3 Montana games. And walking down to the field now for Montana, number 43, Willie Walden, transfer tight end from the University of Oregon, who caught his first pass last week as a Montana football player. Edwards, all kinds of time on the play fake, wants Tate Hancock, touchdown! 6-0 Grizzlies.
What a great throw by Edwards. Tate Hancock, as we talked about, coming on strong since the Idaho game. Really, that was good coverage by PSU that time. But John Edwards, he's reading the newspaper back here. Credit the O-line, great time. And John has been pretty on the money. Hancock right there.
32 yards out, the strike to Hancock. Hancock is second touchdown of the season.
And Brent Donnerberg, the free safety, who missed last week's game with a knee injury, on the coverage. Good coverage, but a great pass by Edwards to Tate Hancock.
Chris Snyder on to tack on the extra one. And that's good as well. 7-0 Montana as the Grizzlies drove the length of the field and put one on the Viking defense. Edwards to Tate Hancock from 32 yards out. Montana strikes first. It's 7-0 here in the first quarter. 7-0, the Grizzlies on top of the Vikings, courtesy of Edwards to Tate Hancock. Portland State is going to set up across the 30-yard line, as that was a great return that time for the Vikings. Hashim Hall, determined run, sets his team up in good field position.
Hall entered the game 28.8 per return, which is pretty darn good.
That leads the Big Sky Conference.
Showed some good strength there and a lot of toughness, which against this Montana kickoff team, you better, because they got some flying guys down there that like to come down and hit you. You see, we talked about the free safety. Trey Edwards moved into the nickel position, and Kevin Edwards now playing free safety, redshirt freshman from Spokane, number 23.
Fuquay in motion. Woods going to give it to him in the flat. And great tackle by Johnny Peoples, who was coming like a missile, and he had him in his sights, and Peoples makes the tackle.
That's another dangerous thing about Fuquay. A very good receiver, has 19 catches coming in, and you can see Wood looking at him all the way. That's where, if he can get a step on you, put a move on you out in the open field like that, Johnny Peoples, 27, made a very, very good tackle to contain a very dangerous runner in Fuquay.
A year ago, Fuquay led the nation in average yards per carry at 7.6.
Ranked third in the country right now in rushing yards per game.
Came in with 1,000 yards even. Wood takes a big hit, but bounces off for a pickup close to first down yardage. Took a shot from Blake Horgan, but Horgan didn't wrap up, and Wood got 3 or 4 more yards after the initial hit.
I can't tell you the last time I saw the Vikings run an option play, but rather effectively there. Good read by Justin Wood, the senior quarterback. Of course, last year Justin was the first team All-Big Sky Conference selection at quarterback. A great junior year, and almost picked up a first down for the Vikings.
Actually, that was Kevin Edwards who made the hit that last play. Either way, it was a good pickup, and now it's 3rd and short Fuqua gets the carry, and he's not going to get it.
No, he's not. He's about a yard short, which puts the ball at about the 42. Montana, everybody sneaking up to the line of scrimmage there. And at this point of the game, if you're PSU, you probably got to punt it off.
There's no decision to make here. This is a no-brainer. You're close to midfield, but we're only 5 minutes into this ball game.
You know what that means? It's LV time.
Seegers standing at his own 17.
PSU sending in a person on the punt return team late. And Eddie Pazos averages 36.2 per attempt.
Gets off a good kick. High spiral. Fair catch called for. The 22-yard line. That's where Montana will start. The Grizzlies march 90 yards on their first possession. We'll see what they can do on their second try. They're up 7-0 over the Vikings. Jelani Harrison, the lone setback this time as the Grizzlies take over on their third series of the first quarter. Edwards fakes to Harrison all kinds of time, and he overshoots Rory Zickman down the left side.
And that was a good place to throw that football. Great coverage by the Vikings. Double coverage on Rory Zickman. And actually, the Jelani Harrison, as you just mentioned, Tom, in the football game, the senior transfer from the University of Washington was kind of the safety valve guy. He was open on a delayed, about a 5-yard out, but John elected to throw the ball away instead, which was a good move.
Connor Malloy, the single tight end on the right side. They're going to run that way behind Malloy. Jelani Harrison close to the 29-yard line. Take a look at your first trivia question of the night. Don Adson Ford Trivia. In the 105-year history of UM football, no games were played in what 3 years, and why were no games played in those 3 years? We'll have the answer in a couple plays. Give Dave a chance to.
No, that's one I know. That's
answer that one.
I actually know that one.
Well, that's because you wrote it.
Third down now, 5. So Montana wants to keep possession of the football. They got to convert here.
Edwards almost completes a pass that would have been very close to first down yardage. Tyler Peterson stretched out, had a shot at it, and couldn't hang on.
So 3 and out on their third offensive series. The Grizz marched 90 yards last series to take the score the go-ahead touchdown, lead 7-0. But Portland State defensively showing very, very good coverage in the secondary so far in this football game.
Mark Spencer awaits the snap, gets it off a low liner, fielded at the 35-yard line and cut down. Trey Young made the play to bring down Steve Shinin.
Well, on 45, Colt Palmer there to help out, and Colt's playing with some hurt ribs.
The Vikings going to have the ball when we come back right now. 7-0, Montana on top. 2-back set behind Justin Wood as the Vikings have the ball 1st and 10 from their own 43-yard line. Wood straight back. Only 2 receivers in the pattern. He's coming to the left side, complete inside the 40-yard line. First down on the first play of the series. Antonio Jackson hauled it in.
And great time once again for Justin Wood. Tim Bush, the right defensive end, doing everything he could, trying to spin move there. But Wood really lets us set up. You see the tackle there in the block. That's 91 Bush, but excellent pass by Wood. And of course, Coach Walsh was concerned about his offensive line with 2 starters out with injuries. So far, the Viking O-line has looked pretty decent, especially in a pass blocking scheme.
This time 4 wideouts. Fuqua, the lone setback. Grizzlies in their nickel package. Fuqua in the flat, couldn't hang on to it. Tried the one-handed catch, didn't happen.
And that was he was forced to throw it quicker than he wanted to. Fuqua really hadn't had a chance to turn upfield much at all. That's why you saw the Grizzly player scramble for the ball here, but it was definitely a forward pass, as you see right here. Tried to one-handed with his left hand. Joel Robinson, 53, the junior from Kalispell, right there to make the tackle if Fuqua would haul that in.
2nd and 10. 5:16 remaining here in the first quarter. from PGE Park in Portland, 7-0 Montana. Wood gives the first man through, up over the 25, down close to 30, balls on the ground. Fumble, but I believe Jesse Levin, the wideout, was able to fall on it to retain possession. They gave the ball to the fullback, Salim Muhammad. He had a good run, but he tossed it up. Muhammad transfer.
Only his ninth carry of the season. We've got the top two teams in penalties this year. Recovered 202 with 19. So both opportunistic football teams here playing tonight, and that could have really changed some momentum there if the Grizzlies could have recovered that miscue. So third and just about a yard and a half now for the Vikings.
Looks like goal line formation. They want to talk it over as Antonio Bryant signals timeout. First timeout that the Vikings have taken.
You know, a lot has been said about that 51-48 game here in Portland State. In Portland a few years back, the overtime win. I remember that game. That game was 21-21 after a quarter. We're going, man, this is going to be your basic 88-80, and of course 51-48. There was a lot of points on the board. Both teams have changed dramatically. Both teams were primarily passing teams back then. Now both teams are much more balanced. And of course Montana and Yo Humphrey, what he's did the last couple years, and now Portland State has changed their philosophy because of a certain Ryan Fuqua, who, as we said at the onset, only a sophomore.
The answer to the first trivia question down at Edson Ford Trivia, well, it was because of the World Wars. World War I, they didn't play any games in 1918, and then again in 43 and 44, as our country was at war.
Couldn't field enough
Grizz
players.
football.
There weren't enough players. All the men were at war. Well, a lot of them. Not all. A lot of them.
All the athletes were serving their country.
Yep.
Third and short. Jackson in motion. Play fake to Fuqua. And Wood gets off the pass, complete to Jackson for a first down. Herb Fernandez was chasing Wood, had a beat on him, and that's the athletic ability of Justin Wood to avoid that pressure and complete that critical third down pass.
That's a great play by Justin Wood, and of course Herb Fernandez, senior from San Diego, really coming on strong at D end. But Justin Wood knew he had to unload it right away. He was about 10 yards in the backfield when he did, and Portland State with a nice looking drive right now.
Two tight ends now for Wood. Grizzlies creeping up. Speed option to the right side. Fuqua bobbles it and it goes out of bounds. Vikings will retain possession. Second time that we've seen the speed option, and Montana defensive coordinator Mike Bresky, in talking with him this week, said that when the Vikings get in the red zone, they like to run this play.
You know,
they like to run it a little better than they did right there, but that's a play that they will employ.
I like that play, but I never understood why you ran it to the short side of the field. You know, give your guy a little more, some more yards to runner, especially a speed guy like he is.
They go back to 4 wide now. No tight ends. Fuqua behind Wood. Montana in their base nickel package. Thrown into double coverage. That's going to be incomplete. It's a good thing because Trey Young was there along with Kevin Edwards. Good coverage.
Well, Woods just threw that ball away. He knew their double coverage, and no one was going to get this thing. Smart throw. Now the Vikings find themselves, they were in 1st and 10 from the 20. Now it's 3rd and 12 from the 22. So look for Justin Wood to maybe roll out, try to get something going again. Possibly they got trips left, but you know they like to throw the ball to Fuqua too in this instance.
3rd and long. Big play early on for the Vikings. Going to the end zone. Touchdown! Boy, what a catch from Joy Williams at the back of the end zone, and this game is 1 point away from being tied up. Jay Williams with the touchdown.
And that was a fingertip catch. It was really a great throw. Hey, it was great coverage. Vernon Smith, I think, Montana's top coverage guy with 3 picks this year, is right there. He's turning around, and you just see it was thrown where Vernon couldn't get it. Only one guy could. He did. He caught it for a touchdown.
Jay Williams from 22 yards out. The extra point is up, and it's good. And this game is tied with 4 minutes left in the first quarter. 7-7 as both teams strike through the air. And Wood had time, and Smith was there, but he just didn't play the ball, and Williams makes a great catch for 6. This offense was the most efficient offense in the Big Sky last year. Wood threw 23 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions a year ago in his first year as the starting quarterback for the Vikings, and off to a hot start tonight.
And Williams, a JC transfer from Mesa Junior College, a junior.
7 plays, 57 yards, a minute 21. They moved the ball quick.
Shouldn't have brought up that 21-21 first quarter score.
Here we go.
Because PSU's starting to click now. And one interesting thing, I know Joe Glenn talked about it earlier in the year, the head coach of the Montana Grizzlies, Portland State with 36 junior college and 4-year transfers. Montana with 6. So the different programs, sometimes a quick fix works. And Portland State's added a lot of new players here, but one of them just got a touchdown pass. Jay Williams.
Rory Zickman from his own 5-yard line. Following Levander Seegers. Now cuts it up the middle across the 30-35. Just about to the 37-yard line. Montana's looked good so far in their kick return game. 3:54 left. The ball game's tied at 7. Both John Edwards and Justin Wood have touchdown passes to their credit. As these two teams square off, Montana picked across the board by the media and the coaches before the season started to win the Big Sky Conference. Likewise, Portland State was picked across the board to finish second.
Well, Montana's been ranked in the top 25 in the Sports Network's national poll, 133 of the past 136 weeks. That goes back to 1993, so they've been there, done that. Portland State ranked 13th right now. They want to be there and do that too.
Edwards hands off to J.R. Waller. Bounces and weaves his way up to the 40-yard line. Ben Wynn was the lead back that time. Of course, the Grizzlies banged up at that fullback position. Brad Weston hurt his neck 2 weeks ago against Weber State, and he's been out. Ben Wynn saw his first action last week, played well.
First pass, first catch of the year.
Caught a ball last week, that's right.
Freshman from Darby, Montana.
The Darby Tigers. On a District 5B. Edwards, screen pass. Little flare out. J.R. Waller over the 50. Grizzlies now first down inside Portland State territory.
And that is such a dangerous weapon when you have a back with the strength and power and receiving ability as JR. And frankly, he struggled a bit last year as a freshman, catching the ball and kept working. Harvey Patton, the running backs coach, really worked with him, and that's a nice grab. And then he just puts his shoulder down and picks up a couple yards. And Renard Carey, number 3, with the tackle.
John Edwards now is 5 of 11 for 92 yards on the night. 3 wide, they'll go to Waller again. Another big hole. Pickup of 7 on first down. That makes Montana offensive coordinator Billy Cockhill very happy to have a second and short. Well, might be a time to go up top right here.
Exactly.
Just it makes
so
the
many
play calling
opportunities.
so much easier.
So many opportunities, and of course, you know, Chris Snyder, Montana's junior field goal kicker, has been so effective the last couple games. Really had an early season slump. Let's face it, and has come on strong in the last several games, and he's got range from really 50 yards in.
Made a 57-yarder earlier this year. Jelani Harrison, a lot of room left side. Another first down, Montana. Harrison saw a lot of green as soon as he got to the line of scrimmage. He took it inside the 30.
Jelani took a good pop there, asked for a little relief. That means J.R. Waller, number 20, back in. Of course, Montana talked about it. Here it is, a nice power run. Comes down hard on that right knee. David Gober, Montana hoping to get freshman David Gober back in action next week at home against Northern Arizona. They're not sure yet. Number 3 running back would be 38, Pete Hamill would be the next guy in.
First and 10, J.R. Waller. Diving and dancing and weaving down inside the 20. It's Montana really starting to control the line of scrimmage now. The offensive line is opening some gaping holes along the Viking front.
Well, we were down there before the game too, and this is an artificial surface. We watch the replay. This is not like sprint turf. This is like AstroTurf, which means a guy like JR, watch this cut right here. That initial cut, you can make it on this stuff. It's really sharp. It's also, you catch your feet a little more, but this is a good fast playing surface.
Very fast track. And they go to the speedster again. Waller, a sprint champion in high school. He's got some open room left side. Stiff arm gets him inside, and maybe right on the 10-yard line.
Good power move by J.R. Waller. And
Darius Brown again on the tackle. Darius Brown's getting sick of tackling Waller out in the open flat.
And we talked about this is a homecoming for JR and about 44 family friends, and it's got to be a great experience for him to have this early success only in the first quarter. And JR is racking up some numbers. He's already got about over 50 yards rushing here in this first quarter.
Montana can get another first down as the ball is just on the outside of the 10-yard line. So 1st and 10 from the 10.5. JR on inside give, this time only a gain of 1, maybe 2.
And Montana took the ball out of the shotgun that time, which not oftentimes, but a few times this year we've seen the same formation John Edwards likes to do, kind of a delayed draw in that particular play. And our Bruce Palmer, our referee, was signaling to this. I don't know what he was doing, signaling to the sidelines, but Montana picked up a couple there.
I believe what he did, it was 1st and goal. He told the sticks to set him down.
Okay.
So now it's 2nd and goal. Montana can't get a first down. There's flags in the play.
Well, I think that's a free play.
Had a free one there. It looks like someone started early on the Viking side.
I think the left defensive end for Portland State tried to get a quick jump, which means we may not get another play off. We got 13 seconds remaining here in this first quarter. And there you see the call, the encroachment call on the PSUD. Coach Walsh says, yeah, I saw it too, sorry.
Tim Walsh, now the longest tenured coach in Portland State history. This is his 10th season.
Half the distance
Tim
to the
Walsh,
goal. Replay second down.
has been with this program, as you mentioned, 10 years, Tom, and Portland State joined the 1AA ranks in '96, so he's been with them in the transition, and he's been around for a while, been around the block for a while, and we'll see if Montana's, they're going to be close to getting it off, 5-4-3 and counting. They're not going to get a playoff here in this quarter.
First quarter comes to an end with the score even at 7 apiece. Would not expect anything less from these two clubs. We'll be back to start the second quarter after this. This game's tied at 7.